Hey guys, what's up? This is Logan here in the Lakeside studio, hoping to talk to LYM about what our future is going to look like. Now, this isn't permanent, this isn't going to last forever, but what we are trying to do right now is find the best way to connect with you guys as we're all social distancing. Hopefully, you were able to tune in and hear what Pastor Chris had to say on Sunday morning in our first edition of Lakeside Connect. And if so, then you'll be familiar with what we're doing right now. It looks pretty similar to how Pastor Chris was doing it, but instead, this is going to be just for us. If your parents want to tune in, if the adults of the church want to tune in, that's great. But I want to talk to you guys in LYM about what you're going through and how we're experiencing this together. Tonight, I want to talk to you guys specifically about how we're not made to do life alone, how you were not made to do life by yourself. And I know that sounds a little crazy because right now you're told to do life by yourself. You're told to stay away from everybody else. They've canceled school, they've canceled sports, they've done everything that they can to make sure that you're by yourself. But I want you to know that you're not made to do life alone. All throughout the Bible, starting in Genesis chapter 2, we find out that God said it wasn't good for man to be alone. He made Adam, and he realized as Adam was going through life that doing it by himself wasn't going to be good enough, that he needed a helper, and he needed someone to go through it with him. We find out later on in Exodus chapter 4 that this is a repeated issue. It says in chapter 4 that 2 is better than 1. It says that when they're going through, they'll be able to keep each other warm whenever they lay down. They'll be able to fight each other's battles and stand back to back and be able to support one another and defend one another. And so the Bible constantly is telling us that you weren't made to do life alone. It says that you're a part of the body of Christ, where you're supposed to connect, where you're supposed to be in one accord together. And we find out that as we're going through life right now in the quarantine, that things don't exactly look like that we can't get together like we want to. We can't spend that time together physically and be in the same room. But what we can do is we can connect virtually, and we can connect through our phones and by being able to stay in touch with one another through all these different ways that we've got. One way that I want to share with you guys that we're trying right now, it's something new that we're trying out, but it's an app called Group.me. Some of you may be familiar with it. I know some of the sports at the school there in Westmoreland use it to be able to connect with one another. But it's a way for us, we're going to try it. It's going to be like a virtual chat room or like a group text on your phone where we're able to get together, whether you got an iPhone or you've got an Android, if you got the blue or the green bubbles, it doesn't matter when you're on Group.me, but we're going to connect together and be a part of that where we can talk to each other and we can share what's going on. We can share how our brothers and sisters are driving us nuts and how we've done so much playing video games the last couple of days that's not even fun anymore, or whatever it may be. We can jump in and we can talk together. One thing I think is hilarious about Group.me is it's got a way for you guys to make memes. So if you've got great quarantine memes about how you're out of toilet paper and you got all this great stuff going on, you guys can share that together and make each other laugh. But it's an awesome way for us to stay connected and be able to talk to each other. As we're going on, and I don't want to keep you guys for long, but as we're going on just a little bit longer, I want to share with you a story that comes from Exodus chapter 17. And it's this idea about how we're not made to do life alone. It's about these group of guys who come together and they help one another to win a battle for God. But it's not an everyday battle story that you'd be used to hearing. Instead, our guy in this story is Moses. And he was the leader of the Israelites in the time of our story. And he told Joshua and some of the other soldiers to go down and start to fight this group called the Amalekites. And so Moses goes up on the hill and he goes to watch over this battle that's going on. And the Bible tells us that as long as Moses held his staff in the air above his head, that the Israelites would have victory. They'd have the advantage over the Amalekites. And so as time goes on, Moses is holding the staff and he slowly starts to get more tired and more tired and more tired. And his staff starts to come down. And we find out that when the staff is down and not above his head, the Amalekites, their enemy, had the victory. And so two of his friends, two of the leaders there as well, came up, and their names were Aaron and Hur. And they came up around Moses, and they decided that they were going to support him. They were going to give Moses the help that he needed. So they brought a big stone for Moses to sit on so he could rest his legs. And Aaron came up on one side and lifted Moses' hand. And Hur stepped around to the other side and lifted his other hand. And they held that staff up for Moses. Or rather, they held Moses' arms up while he was holding the staff so that it would be above his head, so that all the while the Israelites would have the advantage in the battle, and they would be able to win the war against the Amalekites. And that's exactly what happened. The Bible tells us that they took the victory because of Moses' ability to keep his hands above his head. But I want you guys to know that Moses couldn't have done it by himself. Moses couldn't keep his hands up above his head like that the whole time, and that's why those two had to step in. And it's the same for you guys. Now, I know what you're thinking right now is that nobody's coming up and trying to fight you. You're locked in your house, the doors are locked, nobody's getting in, and especially not with a sword trying to take you out. But what is happening is we've got a very real spiritual battle against the enemy, and it could be against a number of things. For some of you guys, you may be afraid because of what's going on. With all of this quarantine stuff, all the news that we're hearing about this virus spreading, there's fear that can set in if you are worried about it happening to you or someone that you love. It may be anxiety just because you're trapped in the house. You may be starting to get claustrophobic or whatever it may be as you're trying to just get out and do something and you're not able to. And for some of you, it's just boredom. For some of you, you're just tired of being trapped in the house. You thought a second week of spring break would be awesome, but instead it's lame and you're tired of it and you want to get back to school to hang out with your friends or play sports or whatever it is. But for every single one of us, we've got a battle that we could be facing right now. And I want you guys to know as you go through it, you're not doing it by yourself. You're not going through this battle alone, but you're doing it with one another. You've got a chance right now to be able to connect with each other through your phones and through social media, through texting each other, or even going old school and picking up the phone and making a call. You guys can stay connected and you can show each other that you love each other and that you support each other. I've had the chance this week to be able to text some of you and be able to reach out that way and see what's going on, and it's been awesome to hear from you because I so miss being able to hang out and come in and play basketball and play volleyball. And eventually we'll get to do that again, but for the time being, we've got to connect the way that we can. We've got to stay in touch the way that we can because you were not made to do life alone. You weren't made to live in isolation and to go in on your own, but you were made to support each other. You were made to know that you're loved by the people around you and that you've got friends that care about you and want to know what's going on. So I want to challenge you guys that as the next couple of days, even today, as soon as you get done watching this video, whip out your phone, find somebody in LYM, and shoot them a text. Let them know, hey, this is what's going on with me. I want to know what's going on with you, and I want to know how I can pray with you. Before we go, I want to let you guys go now, but before we do, I want you guys to know that Rachel and I love you guys, and we miss you guys, and we're praying for you every single day. We're excited for all of this to be over. We're excited for everybody to get healthy again and this virus to stop spreading, but in the meantime, we want you guys to know that we're here for you. If you don't have our cell phone numbers, if you don't have a way to reach us on Facebook or something like that, get with somebody in your house that might have our number. Get with a parent or a friend that you know does have it, or somebody that can reach out. Somebody's going to be able to connect you to us because we want you to know that we're here for you, that we love you, and that we're praying for you guys because you are not doing this alone, but we're all here for one another. Have a great week.